I'm here today with my dear friend and sister, Debra Haas, and we are going to be talking about and doing some readings where I am going to kind of be talking about present and past. Now, she and I have known each other only very, very briefly, but I am going to just dive right in, actually, and I am going to start in this order. Why is it that she and I can bring these lovely podcasts to you, the viewer? Well, I happen to be a Leo who was born on August 12th, and you will note that her sun first house is pointing right to the sign of Leo, 24, which is going to be, when you consider it, a 6, which means that she's probably somewhere for me family from another time. Now, she doesn't know this exactly, but I think we might have mentioned it briefly, but I'm not sure because our conversations, given the amount of time, have been limited. So I want to make that clear. So some of this might surprise her, some of it might surprise me, and all of it, I'm certain, will surprise you, the viewers. Now, one of the details I want to just get out of the way right off the bat is comments are allowed on this site, but they are filtered. So please do be aware that they need to be appropriate. The number 6 is associated with family in tarot. The major arcana it's the Lover's card, number 6. It is also, interestingly enough, the devil. Okay, the number 6. And so I understand we could be getting the devil coming in here. Okay, as a psychic, as a person who has worked hard for my degree in astrology, as a tarot card reader, and a lifelong symbol reader, I give you, the audience, fair warning. Let's not go codependent. Let's consider and be mindful of the things we do and how they impact our own personal mental health. Because what we're doing when we go codependent, or alternatively, outright devil mode, is we're saying we don't feel good about ourselves, so we are going to instinctively operate against ourselves and attack that which we don't understand or like, the devil. He becomes our character for our development in low self-esteem and poor-minded thinking. So
I have a different way of explaining that. May I?
Oh, absolutely, please.
We're at a time in our lives where we can visibly see cause and effect of low and high vibrations. The world was sifted that way. We see the lowest ones so we also can learn to be better going forward. We see the lies. Truth is very important. So rather than internalize anything you don't understand, be open. Be open-minded, open of heart. Just absorb. We're all on a journey and we pick up information everywhere. And what's happening in the world is our greatest teacher. To be a better civilization, to be kinder to each other, to trust love, trust people. We're being filtered. So with that in mind, does that make sense to you, Deb?
Beautiful.
And when she says we know each other a long time, it's a week. It was a week Thursday that we kind of spoke for the first time, but we connected in a way that was so unusual. I can speak myself. Okay?
Okay, and one of the interesting details that I was getting ready to go into is that
I'm rude.
in my chart, I'm able to read past life energy as well as present life. And one of the gifts that I'm bringing to astrology, in addition to medical, and why I probably am able to see it so well, and my husband refers to me as the Edgar Casey of astrology, because he is a little flabbergasted at how easily I will point out the medical issues in a chart and be dead on the money. And he doesn't believe in astrology. He thinks it's garbage. So there you go. The yin and yang, the light and the dark, right? We all have it. We all are functioning in this space where we are attracted to the opposite of who we are. Okay. But in this case, where her sun is 24 degrees, which has an element of 12, which August 12th is my birthday. It has a vibration. We come together based upon vibratory fields. Our vibe and our tribe bring us. Her ability to speak, in my opinion, truth is brilliant. Now, you might have to have an ear for it. And you may have to be mindful as you're taking the information in, because she says it so hard hitting. Now, where do I see that in her chart? Well, look over into the third house where her north node information. And again, I'm going to tie this back to something in my past life. I believe that I am a Holocaust victim, reincarnated into this lifetime, been asked to do this work to bring awareness of how this victimology, other energy starts, takes place, and unfolds. And interestingly enough, this is also indirectly what I'm observing Deb do as well. And it might look to the viewer as though this is about 45 and her personal political feelings. But I'm going to tell you something, viewers, that he is not the end all be all, only piece of conversation and thought in mind, that this might be bigger than he is. And that is where this square ties in, where her north node, my sun, her sun, boom, in August, eclipse time, pops and gears turn and understandings unfold. And we know each other in odd ways, probably stood next to each other in the midst of the game called Other, where we were separated out on a platform from a train and sent to breathe cyanide for the sake of taking our teeth that maybe had a slight little piece of gold in it for the gain of one or two at the top. You are being led like sheep when you're buying today's dialogue and not asking yourself what this is about. Now, mind you, just saying that alone, I have probably got this video shadow banned. So you might want to share it. Tell people to like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes when they shadow ban, you can't see me in my videos. It'll look like they're not available, and they are. But you'll notice that her north node is in Libra. So let's continue this story about the Holocaust, where somebody that she had partnership with in the past, you'll notice that in the ninth house, in Aries, which is going to go back to that first house, that sun. The information's connecting up beautifully. That says there's a connection, fire. We know that's a fixed energy. We know what we know. And nobody can take that from us. I am whoever I am, wherever I go. Now, we've been taught to believe that we are little insignificant amoebas, drops of water in an ocean of drops, and we matter not. But we need to be of service to the fat cats, to the biggest of the biggest predators. Those would be known, unfortunately, as our billionaires. So why does this story grab Deb in such a way, according to her chart? Well, why it's grabbing her so heavily, interestingly enough, is that her chart lays out very much like 45's chart. She has this same trining chart that keeps Trump lucky. And somehow this same trining chart isn't keeping her lucky. And you have to ask yourself, why would that be? Why would this configuration affect one person one way? They can live in a way that is almost shocking, and another person can live in a way that's above it. And again, it's almost shocking, but for the complete opposite of reason. And so what we have here is we have, as 45 is Leonian, you have connection to him, is what this chart is saying, just like you have connection to me. And so largely you sort of know him. And funny as it is, I do as well. And what is even more interesting is that I get sensitive. I realize why people might be sensitive about Trump and victimology and so on and so forth. For whatever reasons, I tend to, and always have from the time that he was elected. Now, I didn't vote for him. I want to be clear. I am not in a political party. I belong to no political party. This is not a political reading. This is.
Were you always not in a political party?
No. I was a
Democrat. I took myself out like 2 years before I awakened.
Right.
And I don't even know why. I think so I could have more of an objective.
I just started feeling like two parties is really only one party, and we're being told that it's two parties, and that what we really have, that Leonian issue, is we have what's called a drama. Okay. And where Trump is really able to, as an actor, provide a really good show. And I've always known that, and I've said this repeatedly, that what we are seeing is called pin the tail on the Donald. And I think that energy right there is the underside of why people are so sensitive, because they feel like he's got somehow going to get victimized in this. And they're not incorrect. Where they might be kind of off base a little bit is his victimization was by choice. I think that he's an actor. I think that he was paid to come into office and do a really big show for us. And I think that what we're going to see in terms of, as this all unfolds, is a really interesting, like, breathing. It'll look like we're going to go after him, and then it won't look like we are. It'll look like we're going to go after him. No, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not. And are we going to go after him? Well, not exactly. I think that that's just the truth. I think we don't go after presidents, and I think we don't go after them for good reasons, up to and including him. But I will say, for those of you who commit acts of what you consider valor for him, you very well may go to prison. Now, I want to say that to you. This is for entertainment purposes only. I want to say this to you for your protection, because it's easy to get a feeling like, oh my God, the sky is falling, and if I don't react, it's going to fall. And I'm going to tell you.
I see it totally differently.
And
go ahead.
Beautiful. But the sky isn't falling at all. What the sky is doing is it's telling you to make a better choice. And you have a right to make the wrong choice or the right choice. But things are changing. They're changing for all of us. And you better be aware.
My path started, it's more complicated, but basically, I was a Candy Crush junkie. And my nephew got me onto it. My family was all into it. And you had to go online to get your tickets to get to the next level. And all of a sudden, this person comes down my feed, and I start watching it. And it was a woman that I started watching. She claimed to be a medium and all this stuff, and her husband. And that's a whole 2-year story in itself. But I was given 3 words: when I was asked to go back to them. And I was shown Scientology, Trump, and them. Them I'll talk about later on different things, but the way I've always been shown it, there would be two energies, and one we wouldn't know is Biden. One was here to break everything, and that's what I kept saying to people, and they were getting mad, especially the family that likes him. But I saw it where he didn't want to run. It was a joke. Nobody thought he was going to win. We kind of have an indication of how he won now, but it wasn't our choice. It was a universal choice because we're in the midst of change to bring forth another world. So therefore, his persona, his personality, the person he's always been, would attract his like. And he would give them permission for the thoughts they struggled to keep inside to come out. So some could see it, I see it as a war of dark energy, negative energy. Some people could see it as a war on narcissism. So, but it was a definite sift in personalities, which I had been through already in the first 2 years to understand this. Then we were going to be presented with a choice. Now, people that voted for Biden didn't vote for Biden. We were voting against what we saw happening. And we did it quietly because we couldn't even talk because we were getting yelled at by everybody else. They were into kill Pelosi, kill things that they don't even know to kill. They didn't know these people, but whoever there was a target on, that's how the mob, mean girl mobs turn. It's what I call the PIP effect. People infected people, and they sat on social media feeding each other this sick energy and ramping each other up. In the meantime, people were starting to become more aware, enlightened, more spiritual. But even in the beginning, I said he would break religion. He would break everything possible to expose it to us. Now, the one thing you have to admit, we all got an education in politics, no matter what. If you never voted, if you voted here and there just for president, all of a sudden we understand how government works. We understand other governments. We are mingling with other governments.
And it's very interesting that you say that, because this is where we do have a very clear agreement, and we figured that out almost immediately in our conversations. I think the very first time we talked was that I had said to you that I find the whole energy of 45 to have been quite interesting and almost enlightening, that I could understand how people view him as a deity, because in some ways I do as well, but I view him as an angel that has come in some dark sort of way by higher subconscious agreement to expose the underbelly, the darkness. And we can sit here all day long and talk about him, the man, but I think that that's kind of getting into the weeds, and it's not getting to the point. That this might be a message from 1-800 higher ups. Hey,
oh,
people,
it is.
It's very much so.
Yeah, the same as I had to say. I said to people, no matter who wants, we have to trust this is the universe's choice. We're in a dark and light war. It's happening in Ukraine. It's happening in many countries right now. We're all fighting for democracy, freedom, free will. Because what happened is all this. Now I'm going to go off. Stop me if I interrupt too much. Just as spiritual people feel we're bringing forth the magic and the better times, the things that shut us down had to be broken. This is why you're hearing religion being thrown around, where they overstep boundaries, because it's the greed, the people in charge, the 1%, the billionaires that always shut people down for their own agendas. And that's how you see a little army forming, because cult minds and narcissists and weak people look for weaker because they can manipulate them. Now, to be fair, please remember, the worst of it came during COVID when everybody was scared shitless. Well, I don't know if you could say that, but scared witless. And we saw celebrities dressed and doing lives like we do, like no makeup, just being themselves. We were meant to learn a lot of lessons through that were distracted by the noise, the anger, the hate, the rage, the fear, the jealousies, the insecurities all surfaced. As people started to shed theirs, it went more to that pile. And that's how it's always shown to me. Like, some people will never come out of this. Some people can, but they have to do their work. They have to be able to say, I'm sorry, I screwed up. I'm sorry I screamed at you, for your views. I'm sorry I wanted people dead. People acted in a way that we would never have understood if it didn't play out in front of us. So it's teaching us how to be better. The values we lost. There was a time where we talked about how it seemed like backwards world, and everybody was cursing their brains out, being vicious, and the quieter people just sat back in shock. I mean, they're not worried. They were never worried about if there was a pandemic. They were never worried about that. They were so enraged and needed to take their rage and fears out on somebody else, and we were the victims. It's turning around.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Shut me up if I get carried away.
No,
I know I speak.
You can see that. You can see that reflected. Now let's look up at your ninth house, where you see the South Node, where it's saying in a past life, you were an expert at bringing fiery, expanded information that was solid, okay, and educated information. So if you ask yourself, where am I getting this and why do I know this stuff? Then notice over in the 10th house in Taurus, where your moon is sitting right over the top of Taurus, where that's really second house energy, house and home. Well, that's also the house of career, what you do for a living. Moon from home. You provide information, North Node, your destiny, to people to help them understand what's unfolding. And really, quite frankly, it's a choice to either listen. You can dig the cobwebs out of your eyeballs, and you can take the plugs off your ears, and you can stop living in la la land. I'm sorry to tell you, Kennedy isn't coming back. Kennedy is not alive. And you can recognize Mars transit in the third house, that we're having information. What you're being told has been not truthful. And there is, guess what? Spirit's beautiful, here to offer you the olive branch of truth, the white flag, the beautiful love that wants to envelop you and help you understand there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your passion for this person, number 45, that you felt so much for. That speaks of people who have some spiritual awareness. But there's something wrong with you not recognize that you're functioning in darkness in the name of a religion. Because quite frankly, Spirit isn't a particular religion. Spirit doesn't lock you down to rules, boundaries, and fear. And if it does, you might want to question what it is they're selling you. That is called 5, the number 5. It's called the, the Hierophant, okay? The Pope card, the 10th house card that says, I'm in charge and you people don't know anything. Well, be fearful of that guy, because he has taught you all your life how you don't know anything, that he's in charge. And we've given him that whole thing. We've handed that over in the name of Father, right? Does that sound like something? In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. In the name of Father, you have a Father that lives with you in your house. You have a Father you go to and see on a building to give your sins to on Sunday. You have a Father when you get sick that you go talk to when you get medical problems. We've been taught to not see ourselves.
We've been taught to judge ourselves more harshly than anybody else.
Yes.
I mean, we get up and we're already, look, from birth, we're lied to. It's about Santa, whether it's about anything, what school teaches us, the basics. And as kids, as babies, we saw this magic. This magic is real. And you guys know this deep down inside. You know this. What we're supposed to be learning right now is love. And how we're learning it is by seeing what hate does. We're learning that truth, our truth, is just as important. I'm supposed to feel crazy about these things when I hear people threatening lives of people, storming a Capitol, crapping in a building. No, why should I feel dumb about what I'm saying? I
No,
don't want, it's like we're supposed to learn our words matter by seeing how people abuse words. They don't
right.
even use them correctly.
And January 6th, that we have to get to the bottom of it, people, whether it happened
Yes,
with
it's
the
history.
committee, the January 6th committee, or, you want to target certain people. The truth is that at some point, let me tell you about being an other. What happens the day you're the other? And let me tell you something, it's quickly coming, because if you think that you will not be turned on, they will turn on you, and they have a file on you that's a mile thick. The more you participate in lawlessness in the name of your,
Oh, they're watching everything right now.
they're
Of course they are.
documenting everything. And quite frankly, we're all in danger. And what is this hiring almost 100,000 IRS agents? Is it about collecting money and doing audits? No, no, folks, that's not what that's about. What it's really about is it's that hierophant, that government, the Pope, telling you how to live, who to be, where to be. You watch any of the major news networks, guess what? Those aren't there to help you make good decisions. Those networks aren't there to help you think this whole process through. They're actually there to put gasoline on the fire. And that's why people like us are so important to your understanding of what's going on. So be careful. Don't kill the messenger, because what we have to say is so incredible.
I'm none of the conspiracy minds, and I'm not saying you are. I know everything becomes weaponized when you have two energies working against each other. I do believe in my heart the IRS is for a lot of clerical work, and a lot of these people that take kickbacks for the NRA, for big pharma, they're not looking at the average working guy. They're not. That they're going to look at these people. Look, the people that are putting out an abundance of misinformation and making a profit from it, there's got to be accountability. That's the only way everything works.
I
So
don't
they're
disagree
just
with you.
scared of them looking at them. I get it. I have it shown, and in such a simplistic way. Like when this first began, I was screaming to everybody, don't get involved with conspiracies. And I didn't know what that even involved. I didn't know about these groups. None of us knew about how many hate groups there were. But how do you root out the cancer that causes all the illness among us?
You have to, you go in with truth. That's all we have. And the truth is that
you needed it to be exposed.
Right. And
you needed to know who's doing it.
Right. But if you're watching, this is just a fact. If you're watching the media, the general, the 6 media companies that own all the media, so this is owned by 6 people, take that number into mind. Think about that number as being a snake that's come down out of a tree, and it's curling itself around your body and holding you to the ground. That's what's happening to us, the family. We're being held by forces that are like a snake that's strong and
this
powerful.
Is why we're gathering now. This is why we're going to start to gather. Where we felt so lonely and isolated before, now we're going to start finding each other, because there is power in numbers, and nobody's here to compete. I'm not trying to do better than anybody out there, and I've never asked for a dime for anything in the time I'm here. I am not against people doing that, period, because everybody has to eat. Okay, but what we're looking at are the ones like the couple I met in the beginning, the ones that say like they can teach you everything and they don't know anything. Like people that go into leadership and say, I'm the only, and can't really have an attention span to understand. It's the fake churches, it's the fake things that are getting weeded out. And the only way to weed it out is have it break in front of us and be able to see it. Yes. Yes. And that was his job. And that's why I don't dislike the man. I mean, as a person, no, I wouldn't hang out with him. I don't like anybody that puts down women. That's just me. But I respect that this is what the universe chose for us to help us. I respect their plan that they showed me and is playing out. I was not spiritual before. Well,
Trump
maybe I
has been
was, but
a
I
leader
didn't know
before.
anything.
Trump has led
But
before. Trump has led before, no doubt about it. And I have theories about that. I do believe that on this planet we are species, different species. For instance, I'm a lion from Uranus, and I say that, and that might sound kind of funny, but it's true. I'm very Uranian. My sun is hijacked and made null by Uranus, the powerful planet of the Aquarian humanitarian that knows how to electronically do things that she has no idea she knows how to do. Okay. I am an electronic lion. Okay. What is Trump? He is a Martian lion. He knows how to burn through all manner of boundaries. And we have watched it be so. I mean, we're watching an incredible amount of what we
he
thought our
broke boundaries.
right?
He broke them.
And we needed to know this, that literally, so Trump helped us. And just even this most recent issue of him having these documents, okay, it's alarming, but it brings to clarity that we put these people in office, and this is probably one after another what's truly happened, and we just don't know it. But maybe not in this direct of a way. Maybe they shared a document here and a document there, and took a photocopy here and a photocopy there of the things they liked and wanted to take home with them. I can imagine this is not an honest transaction that's taking place. And again, who is this guy? Well, I think
look at, I'm sorry, look at his traits. All right. If you look at his traits, because this is what I see in the rise of divine feminine, and we didn't know how we would get all the feminine together type thing, right? Everything they accuse women of, he's exhibiting. Their party is exhibiting. Fear of women. They're automatically a bitch if they have an opinion, but otherwise they're too weak to make decisions. They're not capable of they're gossipy. They're petty. Think of all the words men use on women, or worse, women use on women, because they don't like seeing women get higher, right? Oh, no. Like from the point of view that they like to spend, they like to do this, right? They backstabbing, petty, right? These are the things they call women, and I'm sure you can think of a lot. And the only thing they're good for is sex and birthing babies and stuff like that, right? But look at them. Look at that energy. They're the ones that play victim. They're the crybabies. Aren't we accused of being sappy? They are taking on the negative energy of women. It's a manifestation of words.
What's interesting about Trump and the women issue that you bring forward, and I find so truthful, is that in a way we all know that 45 doesn't believe, not for 1 minute, in some of this garbage about banning women from abortions and all of that. The guy would have kids from here to frickin' Timbuktu if that were the case. And so right. You know that he is not somebody who on a personal level and an objective level objects to women having abortions. Now, I will say at 73, he probably can't, make that so much anymore. And that's, neither here nor there. And I realize you all want to see him as a cartoon character that could, do the world. But,
hey, listen, we know there's blue pills.
Right. But in reality, let me tell you, it gets harder by the year. And, with me having cancer, it's like an afterthought of a time long ago, so I just want to say, let's be real and let's not be getting
But why are they so obsessed with everything about a vagina? I've always said it's like vagina envy on steroids.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing they can't control is a woman's vagina. So every election this comes up.
I know what I was going to say, and I'm glad you brought that back up, because one of the things that I thought about,
I'm grabbing coffee. Go ahead, I'm listening.
All right. So one of the things that I'm thinking about, and I've actually wondered as well, is what if we in the United States, in a political truth, are no longer really being run by anybody here in the United States, but are in fact being ran by a country that has extraordinarily conservative values, such as wanting women's heads covered, because they've been kind of teaching us, as far as I can tell through COVID, to cover our mouths, right? To stay indoors, to stay hidden. It's a message in a way. If you think of it symbolically, we've been asked to shop at certain times. As we are older, for instance, this would be a good example maybe of how they're segmenting and separating us. Okay, if you're sick or over age 60, then you can shop between this hour and this hour. We're going to give you special privileges during this time. But keep in mind, what they're doing is they're breaking the boundaries, the norms we have. What does 45 help us to see? That they're breaking the boundaries and the norms we have. And he's showing it to us in ways that, well, if you could smell poop, now, mind you, with this current virus, that might not always be necessary. That might be, and again, ask yourself, why symbolically are we losing our sense of smell and taste?
Unalive, that's all.
They want us to not be able to smell the stinky smell of doom. They'd like us to bypass that thought. In addition, they want us to eat the nasty taste of doom and not taste it.
Well, here's the thing. It's like religion, it's like parenting, it's like anything. Fear keeps people controlled. You don't think much past that fear. So this is what's breaking. That's why they sent so much help with us, with everybody that's awakening. We're given the opportunity to make the right choices to free those fears. I have no fear. I have no fear of anything. Death, it's an inevitable situation. Am I going to fear how it comes? Now, even going back to COVID, everybody has a different opinion on COVID. You could say it's not real, but the thing was, the masks did not have to be politicized. It could have been a personal choice, but no, we took it to the schools. We scared the shit out of kids. The one thing parents stopped doing is teaching their kids to trust in themselves. I mean, when you have kids that speak up against their parents, stop coming to school and putting on a show, kids don't have the right to be children anymore. That's taken away everything. When you can go to school and learn drills and be told that it's easy if more guns are there, you know, it's like such a complete breakdown of society that it had to break everything. And that's where we're at. We know if the right decisions are made in November, that we could have people that aren't looking at everybody's uterus and going abortion and scraping guns and pocketing the cash. And look at the bills that are passing to help our planet for the first time. We made some headway. Look at the kids from the school shootings that are doing the speaking up and running for office. This is the generation we're supposed to help.
Well, see,
we're supposed to empower children.
What's beautiful is my south node is in the third house. Okay. Your north node. So that's kind of the complete picture. One of us is open, the other's closed. One of us, right? It's literally all right here. You're a closed quincunx to Scorpio. I'm an open quincunx to Scorpio. Okay. So
You're saying I'm closed?
You're a closed quincunx to Scorpio. That doesn't mean you can't see, but let me explain.
Okay.
You have Scorpio.
I don't understand charts at all.
Right.
I'm learning.
You have Scorpio in the fourth house, where you're talking about the family, where you have Neptune 4 degrees, where you're very in touch with the despair that we're feeling. And you have Jupiter 22 degrees, wanting to deeply expand in a four corners way for the well-being of a family circumstance, the truth, so that we as the hidden truth, you see the hidden in the chart, and which is beautiful. And again, where as a reader, I can see, again, you're going to be providing readings, Moon, from home, that this is where your career and expertise lies. And so again, when we talked, I had no idea. I didn't look at your chart enough. I hand rendered it after we spoke a little bit, but the first time we spoke, I didn't have your hand rendered chart. I think it was, you said to me, can I call you? And I said to you, well, I don't know what we decided. I can't recall if we decided to talk right away, or I told you I needed a few minutes, or I can't remember what we did. I don't recall, but it was like really quick. And then I got your information so that I could start preparing a reading for you. And this is, a week later, we know more about each other than most people know about each other that lived together for 20 years. Now, explain that to me.
Well, first off, would you start putting the seat down, please?
The seat down?
Yeah, it's hard living with somebody that leaves the seat up.
Yeah, I like to leave the seat. And you know what else I like to do? I like to pee on the floor.
Oh, that was your pee? I thought I was dripping again.
No, that's me. I love that.
But here's the thing, it's sort of like, why is age such an issue? Now, I have been beaten up by trolls for 4.5 years now, almost 5 years. Always constantly attacking my age. The ironic part of that is some of them are my age. My gray hair. I have double chins. You know what? I can fix my chins. You can't fix ignorance. It's like, it's so petty, the arguments coming back, that we can see there's a definite shift in intelligence. Does that mean our lower vibrations as we shed them are impacting them? Possibly. Is it the words they put out coming back at them, like lock them up, this one's a criminal, putting this shit out again with the shit? I don't think I answered your question right because I got distracted by a human in the house.
Don't worry. Relevant to this particular,
I distract easy. What can I say, pal?
Yeah, that's all right. That's that Aries South Node. You know how to look away and think about something else. So anyway, what we're really experiencing and you're seeing as the fruits of truth is that we brush our teeth with neurotoxins. We watch things that are neurotoxic. We eat foods that have neurotoxic properties in them. We drink water that has neurotoxins. And then we're sitting back and going, okay, wait a minute. Why are we acting like we're having a massive mental health crisis? Can't focus, can't sit still, can't hear what anybody else has to say. Well, how much of this is an agenda? Regardless of what we want to do for the thought of conspiracy, in my opinion, there are too many coincidences. I believe politics is a distractor meant to keep us focused on the wrong things. I think it's turned out that Mr. 45, being the spiritual catalyst that he is and the leader from somewhere else that he is, was the person that was meant to and needed to bring our awareness to where it's at. But what's really going on is that we are in the control of a very, very few who have information we don't have. And you can ask yourself, what is it that's going on in this big cosmic pile of poo we're seeing that stinks to heaven's high? And you can wonder, what does it mean? Well, one of the things that kind of triggered me in my thinking was when we just can't seem to vote for an infrastructure bill and get something together to go in and improve our highways, for instance. We can't seem to get ourselves together enough to discuss these things and get it resolved and be as a people behind each other and going, wait a minute, I do need to be able to drive on the highway to get to my job. without blowing my tires every time I go over a pothole, or needing to redo my whole goddamn lower section of my car.
Look at the planet, and then them not wanting to be part of the summit at one point, or them wanting to put money towards it, and yet look what's happening.
Right. So we're pulling out financially, which tells me the billionaires who managed the whole thing anyway know something that's coming. Well, one of the things that's been happening to me rather routinely lately is I look at the clouds when I go anywhere at all. I don't leave home a lot. Stage 4 cancer is debilitating, and it has realities that are realities. I don't go home from home much. You know, I get people that pry me loose, which is beautiful. I'm grateful for them that do this because I am still alive. But at times I'm tired and I don't want to get out there. I get out there now, and every time the clouds have something to say to me. I'm seeing volcanoes. I'm seeing floods. I'm seeing our infrastructures destroyed based upon not so much that, and I know we want to think, because we're all traumatized, we all want to think, okay, it's all going to happen on the 27th of August. The world's going to shake apart and I'm going to know what's finally coming. Okay. It's the big day. And I'm hearing about this a lot on TikTok and Facebook and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you guys something. It's not how it works. It never works that way. How it works.
I was going to say, how many times with the end of the world happening?
It doesn't happen this way.
When
it's going to be
bank runs.
Now on the 27th, do I expect to see some sort of maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll have an earthquake that day. Maybe we'll have a hurricane come in out of nowhere. I don't know, right? What do I know? Even as an astrologer, and we're the ones that are supposedly, you need to be nervous. Don't tell me your birth information. I might be able to see you're good, you're bad, and you're ugly. Not
because it really depends on the masses where they stand. If say the abortion ban didn't happen, you have a lot of women that are registering to vote that never voted before, apparently. Until it affects them, that's when people snap out of things and start looking up, and they had a chance to get out of it. Here's the way I've always seen it, okay? And for what it's worth, this is centuries old karma trying to pull us backwards. This is your dictators, your Genghis Khans, your everything. It's karma taking, and I had a laugh when I heard Biden say today that they're trying to take us backwards. I've been saying that for 5 years, 4 years, whatever it is. One energy was going to try not to let us go forward. And the man that comes helps us go forward. I called him a transitional president. I don't know how long he's here, but yet he brought transition. And if you're not living in fear day to day on how you're paying your bills, how you're doing this, how you're doing that, and more positive energy all around, that frees the imagination. That frees hope. That brings all kinds of listen. We're bringing forward magic. I was saying to friends a while ago that and it's funny because as they're burning books about witches and things like that, all that comes forward. We go back to ways our grandparents did things. We go back to basics, not all the chemicals. We make the changes because we have no choice. We lose the planet. We lose health. Anxieties start falling away. Once you don't have those judgments, those fears, and we start treating each other kinder and better, but we forgot how. Do you remember what we were like 10 years ago? Do you remember?
I do and I don't.
Right? We were meant to forget that too. The conditionings that we were under, the way we were thinking. And here's the thing about spirituality. It is available for anybody. It is. That's how they presented it to me. Anybody could tap into it. Anybody can join. There is no formula. There's no strict diet. Don't listen to people because they will take away what you don't need. Like my craving for alcohol, just one day was gone. I stood at the counter eating a can of beans because apparently my body needed iron and I didn't know why I was doing it. And then I started Googling why things were happening. People put a formula on it to sell it, okay? Especially fake people. But at the same time, we're hitting a place in an awakening that's never been hit before. It's been attempted before, but it never got this far. That's why downloads are bigger. That's why don't ask me why I know these things and if it makes sense. Is it making sense to you?
Oh yeah, no, I'm following you just fine. The thing about it is that I find really interesting between you and I is just how easily, in a way, our moons are able to moon is what is receptive, right? Moon is your ability to receive and understand information. And I'm a Taurus moon, and I'm sitting here looking at your chart. You have progressed moon in Taurus, which again is just that feeds back to that. You can't really make this stuff up, right? In an astrology reading. And, and of course, it's hard for an astrologer who speaks in highly technical terms to make it fun and interesting for the viewer, because yeah, it's kind of neat that somebody kind of knows who you are, just by looking at your chart. But, we really don't know who you are. We only know some basic facts about you. Doesn't mean we have very much information at all. But on the other hand, there's just things that a chart in a good reading that you can really start to get a feel for how interesting it truly can be. And here she's speaking, and I'm looking at her moon, where she's working from home, talking to Taurus, me, moon, Taurus.
Did you kill my dog?
Taurus is how we're able to communicate and bring forward a much needed soothing message to those who are on earth, living at home in their houses, feeling kind of scared, probably. Even the people who claim for Trump, all of us are scared. This is a universe.
And there's no reason to be scared. There's
right.
none.
And fear is what they operate on. They want us to be distracted and fearful. They want us to be spending every single paycheck right down to the nubs. And they've got a formula for which they're tightening the screws and pulling the cash to the top. Don't misunderstand what's happening here. They see somebody at the top knows what's coming, and they're not feeding our infrastructure. They're not taking care of us, the people. They're leaving us, the people, on the surface, if you will, to die. And that is troubling. Go watch the movie Greenland. I had a dream about that movie before it was ever produced. And in that movie, what was incredibly creepy, this dream was many, many years ago. I was standing at a property I own today. And I remember seeing the sky begin to catch on fire and become a massive fireball. So people, pay attention. You might think it's us that are the crazies. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, they're going to treat us like we're the crazies. They're going to do everything in their power to make it seem as though they're going to deal with us, because our podcasts will be difficult for you to see. Do hit the like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you stay tuned. Connect to both of us. We are open, want to hear your conversation, want to participate with you. Leave your comments, but understand, as I said before, these will be filtered comments so that I do not have to hire a moderator. I should not have to treat adults as children. So I will let the computer do that for me.
We have watched a lot of people become childlike.
Right. Precisely.
It is the way you want to be. Like, I have a really healthy inner child that likes to come out and play.
Exactly.
And she's sarcastic as hell. And she loves to run around and be a jerk. And I am proud of her. But what we're seeing with other people is their child on the surface. In 2020, we went into a period of truth.
Yes.
And I was trying to explain this to people, that masks would fall away. And some of them were our friends and family that kind of went off into anger mode and rage mode. And again, they had the permission to do so. But they did so much damage that the hardest part for them is to accept that they have to be apologetic if they're wrong. And these are people that struggle with that. We are going to the different spectrums, the different ranges of the I lost my word, but
I'm going to run to the bathroom.
we're going to the opposite ends. If you're willing to learn your lessons, many people I have a Jewish mother. I was sent to Catholic school. I knew guilt like I wore it like a cloak. There is no guilt. There's no reason to hate. There's no reason to knock when you're feeling the Christ conscious love. And that was a very difficult thing for me to say at one time because, again, I associated things with religion too. And that's where we're stepping up. If you use the term God, then people think, especially now that it's being misused, somebody's helping. There's angels among us. There's goddesses and gods and the history of things helping us evolve right now. And the reason why some people could see a negative ending and a positive ending is because humanity gets to make the choices.
Right. Well, we're separating timelines. You're hearing that a lot right now, going from 1D to a different 3D to 5D. And, whether that's how it's happening, I, as a reader, as an astrologer, as a psychic, I kind of want to stay away from that myself because the truth
I avoid labels and stuff like that too.
Precisely, right? What it is spiritually, let go, let God. If you can just contain what you think and let go and let God, what happens in that process? Well, we end up, the lessons become easier, more tolerable. For instance, I'm just going to mention this because I can see in your chart where you have Neptune 4th house expanding something from Neptunian. Well, how does that relate back to you and I? Well, let me tell you, I am here as Neptune called me. Who is Neptune and why did Neptune call? Well, I have Neptune in Scorpio. Okay, same as you. I have Neptune in Scorpio in the 10th house of my career. Again, the opposite of yours, complementary to you, complementary to this process that we're in. And how did I end up here in Hawaii? Well, I was here in 2017, previous to knowing that the cancer was an eminent problem in my life. I had come with my husband. We went to Maui, and it was our first vacation after raising grandchildren, children being available. We had a farm. We did well for in life financially with each other, but we were always broke because we were always helping everybody but ourselves. And we had decided we were going to go on a vacation together. And it was magical because, well, after 17 years of marriage, or, it wasn't 17, I think it was 15 years of marriage, you want to do things together where you can have these enjoyable memories. And so we go and we have a beautiful time, magical even. But something came into my awareness that I didn't know that was beautiful even further. I have always had a very interesting connection to sea life. And I'd never really put that together until very recently, actually. But I'm in Hawaii and we're going on a boat trip out to see the turtles and to snorkel and dive and the whales. It was kind of a combination trip. And I had taken care of my mother-in-law, who was very, very dear to me, to her demise. And she had purchased this particular outing for us, which was magical. And I'm on the back of a boat with a lot of other people, but at some point people are kind of clearing out. And this very large whale comes up out of the water, what's called sky hopping, where they come straight up out head first. And this whale comes out and looks me in the eye on my left side. Left is going to be your female receptive side. Looked me in the eye, came eye to eye with me. Then on the right side popped up. I knew he was going to do it. I went over on the right side. He came up and he said hello to me again on my right. So that was a moment of like, that was interesting. As I was getting sick, as this cancer was taking over, I became aware that that same whale was calling me to come back to Hawaii, that was no accident. And I became aware that sea life speaks to me. Now, that's an interesting detail that I knew nothing about. I'd had a red-tailed hawk 10 years ago that was cawing and doing crazy eights over me and sitting and watching me work in my garden and clean my horse stalls and, different things that I did on the farm. But I got called to come here to Hawaii, where my career is to dig down deep and tell the stories. Now, I have a question for you. Are you a whale?
I'm a seawater child. I love the ocean.
What animal in the ocean calls you? Because I'm really curious what that might be. Are you a dolphin?
I'm fascinated by dolphins.
That would not surprise me, because you think of a dolphin, it kind of jumps in and out. Now, I'm going to tell you a beautiful story about dolphins here on the island. I had taken my tuning fork to Captain Cook to a place called Two Step. And I was going to tune myself up, but I went with the intention that I was also going to tune for the dolphins that are known to hang out there. And so I'm sitting in my car. I'm very humble, not going out in my bikini and showing off my little tiny bod like we all like to do here in Hawaii. The tighter your butt, the less string you wear. And anyway, so I'm out there and I'm thinking, I'm just going to speak to the dolphins in my sweet, humble way. And oh my God, they were jumping up out of the water. Like I created a show that lasted probably for 2 hours. You don't think that you have magic in your bones. We don't think of ourselves as having spiritual power. But quite frankly, we don't know who we are. But let me leave you with something. Know yourself, know the universe. As within, so without. As above, so below.
Wow.
We are a combination of many things.
Just be open to all experiences and don't be hard on yourself. Don't expect things to happen overnight. If something is triggering you, I always say to people, take 3 days, ask the universe why. You'll know. You may not hear it, but there'll be signs. And as you progress, it becomes clearer. And as your confidence grows, it becomes clearer. And that's where we're trying to head, where people are more confident in their own voices, because we saw crazy speak plenty. And if we're going, are we getting ready to go?
Yeah, we're gonna close this out.
All I ever ask my friends, because it is one heart at a time. You can't change another human being. We know that. We tried. We try to fix relationships. We can fix ourselves and attract people like-minded. And people will want to come towards your way. It's a process. It's all a process, but we're working together with the universe and the deities and God, whatever you want to call it. And if you have doubt, put your hand over your heart. Take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in that magical love. We are love. And we're seeing what happens when there's no loving existence, when it's anger and hate. We learn from this. All right, we're going to go. Peace out.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today.
No, thank you for having me.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Don't stop.